Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Jim Masters Show Live. How are all of you? You and you and you, as we always say. We toast everybody in style on the Jim Masters Show Live. Good evening. Welcome to our show. Little sip, sip. Hope everybody's doing well today. We're still living in crazy times, so we are here to inspire, to uplift, to entertain you, inform you, educate you, and have a good time doing it on the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show Series. We've been doing this show for many weeks, many months, many nights as well, and some days too. Over 240 plus episodes of our Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series, where we're bringing together people from all around the world, great guests who are friends of mine. Many are. Some are new folks we're learning about together from the worlds of television and film, music, Broadway, Hollywood, science, health and wellness, culinary arts, sports, comedy, inspiration, and every field of endeavor, wealth of success, and background you can think of from all around the world. And of course, I love having an opportunity to chat with all of you, our loveities. That's right. For those of you watching for the first time, pleasure to have you here. I'm your host, Jim Masters. This work that we do here on the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series has grown out of my professional work as a television and radio personality, presenter and host, journalist, actor, writer, producer, stage MC, voiceover artist, doing that for a long time on television and radio and multimedia and stage. So we decided to create the Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series with some of the old school vibe of Dick Clark, Dick Cavett, Merv Griffin, Mike Douglas, Johnny Carson's, David Susskind, some of the real classic talk shows where they're bringing back the lost art of good, solid conversation, but also mixed with the modern vibe and modern sensibilities of today with light, love, and levity, or as we say here on the show, a word that's been coined, which is loveity. And that was by accident when I said love and levity a little too fast. So we welcome everybody to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here. Hope everybody is doing well. We have a tremendous guest, singer and actress and director, Kristin Towers-Rowles. She is here. She comes from a very prominent Hollywood family, Hollywood and Broadway family as well. Her grandmother was the MGM film star and so much more, Kathryn Grayson, and we'll just tease you with that. But she is a brilliant singer and actress and director, producer in her own right, though she comes from a significant lineage. Matter of fact, she even did a show, and she's got a web series coming out, a lovely lineage, all about her family lineage. People who have been in Broadway and on stages and film and television extraordinarily. And she herself as well, dabbling in all those different areas so beautifully. So we're excited to welcome her to the show live and direct from Los Angeles, California. She's going to join us in just a second. First, as always, we like to graciously welcome all of our friends, our loveities from all around the world. Willie is here watching in the Netherlands and says, good evening, Jim and loveities. Glad I'm here, everyone. Enjoy the show. We always do. And of course, we welcome everybody watching in all the usual suspect places at Jim Masters TV. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Greetings, Jim and lovely friends. Welcome, actress, singer Kirstin to the show tonight. Good to see Christine in North Carolina, USA, watching. Mary Bishop in Florida. Hello, Jim and lovely friends. Good to see you as well, Mary. There's a lot of people that watch live. Then there's a lot of people who like to comment. You're free to comment. This is a very interactive, viewer-centric entertainment lifestyle talk show series. So these comments you see are live comments that are coming in from our viewers, our loveities, who like to participate in the show. There's a lot of people who just watch the show who don't comment, which is perfectly fine. As long as you watch and you enjoy, that is terrific. And then there's a lot of people who watch it later on. If they're not here with us live, they watch it later. They binge watch the episodes. I've been seeing the multitude of views where people watch the show later on our YouTube channel at Jim Masters TV, and we love that. So however you watch, it's a pleasure having all of you here. Hello, Jim and lovely friends from Mary Bishop in Florida. And Denise is here. Hello, everyone. Good to see you, Denise. And Merlin is here from Ontario, Canada. Hi, Jim and all loveities. Good to see you, Merlin, as well. Kathy Short reporting in from Cleveland, Ohio. I think the snow that you had yesterday, we're going to get a little of that tomorrow, though we've had a really light winter here thus far in the northeastern United States. We've been very blessed with that. Good evening, Jim and our lovely family. It's nice to see you all tonight. Good to see you, Kathy, as well. We love having you here. And welcome, Kristin, to Loveity Hall. You're now a Loveity. I told her all about Loveity and what it's all about, and she loves it. She's like, oh, bring it in. I love that. We got some great tulips coming in from Willie watching in Holland. We love that. That's fantastic. More great comments coming in from some of our regular Loveity viewers, our faithful. Hi, Jim and everyone, from Ann Wozniak. Good to see you, Ann. Bernadette says, hello, Jim and fellow Loveities. Snowing where you are. Started with sleet and changed over. Good to see you, Bernadette. And Christopher Joseph is here from Ohio. Hello to all Loveities. Welcome, Kristin, here to the show. Bernadette is here as well. And so is Juanita. And she's saying, hi, Bernadette, you want some snow? Because you're in a heat wave, aren't you, Juanita? Good to see you, Juanita. Welcome. Hello, Jim and everyone. And good to see you in South Africa. And Denise is here. Hello, Jim, and welcome. Kristin, you're now a Loveity. She loves that. Absolutely. And Renee is watching from Iowa. Good to see you, Renee. Hope you're doing well. Hi, everyone, from Renee in Iowa. Maureen says, hello, my friends. And Mary Bishop in Florida says, welcome, Kristin. All this Loveity is coming. Absolutely. We love this. Love Kathryn Grayson. Beautiful voice. Absolutely. And so does Kristin. And she's going to sing live for us, too. We were just talking about that, which is very generous of her. We really appreciate that. So good to see all the great folks here and those who will be checking in throughout the program. Hope you guys are doing well, and we welcome everybody all around the world. We do have an international audience. How's this for a photo? Don't you love that one? Absolutely. That is really a terrific one. We've got a lot of different photos and cool things to show you, as we go along. We are welcoming Kristin to the show, and she is a brilliant talent. MGM film actress Kathryn Grayson, who, of course, Kristin loved dearly. That is her grandmother, which, if you didn't know, is the case. Kristin is actually third-generation musical theater actress from a very musical family. Her grandmother was MGM film actress Kathryn Grayson, and grandfather, mom's father, musician, film actor, Broadway leading man, Johnny Johnston. Her mother, Patricia Towers, a stage actress and singer, also very popular in Las Vegas as well. Father, Robert Towers, also film, TV, stage, radio veteran of almost 65 years. Even her brother, musician, singer, songwriter, Geordie, who had signed also with Interscope Records. She grew up in LA with a prestigious Hollywood High Performing Arts magnet, where she was awarded Best Actress and given a Best Vocalist of the Year award. She went to the American Musical and Dramatic Academy in New York City, where she was given a scholarship. And she found herself back in LA after graduating. She then went on to do international and national tours and regional theater all over California. And she spent almost an entire year in rep at the Sarah Repertory Company, and found she also directed productions in Los Angeles and other areas in California as well. I'm going to talk a little bit more about her illustrious career, but she has also won countless awards too. She's been in over 100 leading regional touring productions, theater credits, recently nominated for BroadwayWorld's Performer of the Decade 2020. Awards also include Musical Theater Star of the Year from StageSceneLA, Best Leading Actress, Best Director from Eddon BroadwayWorld and Stage Raw Scenie Awards. And of course, A Lovely Lineage, which is a tribute to her grandmother, MGM film star Kathryn Grayson, is currently being turned into a web series for new musicals as well. So she's got a lot on her plate. And we're very excited. And she's got 3 teenagers as well to boot. 3 teenagers, and she still has a full head of hair. We welcome her to our show live and direct from California. Kristin, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you with us. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for welcoming me, too. I'm reading the messages as I go.
Oh, fantastic. So you're seeing all of the great Loveities comments here. Like Willie says, welcome, Kristin, in the Jim Master Show. So nice to have you here. She's watching in Holland, which is really terrific. How are you in California? How have you been doing through all this craziness that we've had over the last couple of months or so?
You know, I'm I'm okay. I feel like this has been such a good time for me with my family of
Yes.
being able, you know, my children are 16, 15, and 13. And I hadn't had as much, you know, condensed time. I think all parents feel that way right now. So to have this, in you know, this time while they're teens, and I kind of have them like contained a little
Mhm.
bit,
Right. Yeah.
where I don't have to worry about them in cars and all of those things right now. That's nice. Of course, I want to be working and I want my children to be back at school and all of those things, but trying to find the blessing in all of this
Mm.
and taking a pause has been good because I was back to back shows working. I spent months out of town in shows and things like that. So it's been nice to just have that family time.
You know, a lot of people have been saying that, even though it's been, sort of horrific as far as the things we've been seeing happening and all the craziness that's going on,
Yeah.
uh, having time to be able to actually breathe and spend time with family and maybe do some of the things that you've wanted to catch up on that you weren't able to have time for, and clean those closets, bake the bread, do all these different things that none of us had time for before that we seem to now have the time for. And also, a lot of people have been pivoting and they've been looking at their lives and saying, okay, what do I want to do next? And have I done thus far the things that really I care about and that really serve me as much as they do the rest of the humanity? Have you found that to be the case too? Have you been looking at your life and saying, okay, here's what we've been, here's where we've gone, here are the things we've done, what do I want to do next? What are some of the things I
Yes.
want to take on next?
So, interestingly enough, I was directing a show that was one day from opening when everything shut down. It was March 12th. And we were supposed to officially open March 13th, first audience. We did
Which
one rehearsal in
which one
front
was
of
that?
Wild Party, the Wild
Yeah.
Party with
Yes.
Andrew Lippa. And I worked so hard on every show I direct, but I swear in that show, my soul was just bare. It's such a heavy show.
There
And
it is there. Yeah.
yeah, it's fantastic. If you don't know the show, look it up. It's the Andrew Lippa version. It's not for the faint of heart. It is the Roaring 20s, like the real Roaring 20s, not the cutesy one.
Yeah.
But I was supposed to leave 3 weeks after that to direct my first national tour, actually.
Mm.
I had directed a world premiere of a play called The Lost Virginity Tour.
Mm-hmm.
Really great play about 4 women living in a retirement community, celebration of women in their prime, all over 65, traveling the country to go back to where they each lost their virginity and tell their story. And it was funny and heartbreaking and all these things. And I directed the world premiere here in LA. And then Jeannie Linders, who created Menopause the Musical, which is all over the world now, she picked up the show to create a national tour. And I was going to be directing Cindy Williams and a bunch of name actors. And then everything shut down. And it
Mm-hmm.
was one of those moments where I was like, all right, what else do I want to do? I've been very lucky because I have had the ability to make my living as an actor and a director for so long. And I thought there are things that I haven't done. So I started going back to school and I'm studying the effects of climate change on food and food production and feeding the world.
Right.
Because there are a lot of things that we can't change. That is something, especially in this country, nobody should be hungry ever. And so I was learning about, food sustainability and food justice. And I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I just know that I love it and I care about it. So, and I'm in school again this semester and I'm teaching. I'm also teaching musical theater online now.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I found new avenues to use my passions and my gifts. And I'm not alone. I have so many friends getting their, real estate licenses and things that they can do. And that's great. I think, I also think as performers and artists, we are so well served by expanding what we're good at. Right?
Exactly right. Right.
I was injured on a national tour in 2002, and I was told I'd never be on stage again, which thank goodness they were wrong. But for 7 years I didn't work. I got married and I had my 3 kids. And then when I got back on stage, I was so much better at what I did because I had taken that time, which unfortunately I didn't take. It was given to me. But I used it in a healthy way. I expanded my life, and my life wasn't all about performing. It was about being a person. So when I went back to performing, I had all this stuff to draw from, this love of my family, this love of my children. And I really believe the best artists are well-rounded humans that do other things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree 100% because you have to be versatile. Versatility is really the name of the game, especially in these industries. And you certainly are and always have been versatile. Let's talk about some of those early inspirations of your life. As I mentioned, your grandmother being Kathryn Grayson, legendary, beloved figure, in MGM and Hollywood and Broadway history and so much more. That legacy just even there for you. Let's talk about how that influenced you. And there, of course, there's your lovely grandmother right there. Those of you who, of course, know Kathryn Grayson, extraordinary. You mentioned too that you don't think you look, although I see some similarity.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's similarities. She's my mom's mom.
Right.
And so my mom has like German and Scotch, Irish, English heritage, very like Western Europe.
Yes.
And then my father is Russian and Polish. So I have this very mixed look. But yes, I've played Kate in Kiss Me Kate, and I've played Magnolia and Showboat. And definitely people have always come up and said, oh, I see so much of the resemblance, but I'm my own person too. It's hard because my grandmother was like one of the most beautiful women that ever lived. Yeah. And so when I was younger, I think I had a harder time kind of knowing who I was because I was always compared because I did musical theater. And as I've gotten older, I've realized how different I am from her, even though I'm a soprano and like I'm much more of a comedian than she was ever allowed to be, although she was really funny. But I've now embraced my uniqueness.
Right.
But she was definitely an inspiration to me, but also my father. My dad is 84 years old now.
There he is, yeah.
Robert Towers, and he is the most hardworking, incredible artist I've ever met. He is someone who, like, he starred for Brad Pitt. He was the younger version of Brad Pitt in Benjamin Button, the movie Benjamin Button.
Right.
And, like, on the Oscars, they showed my dad and then Brad Pitt and then how they married their faces together and all this cool stuff. The most humble person you've ever met. He went from doing that movie to doing, 99-seat show in LA, like the same month. He is an actor's actor. He works at his craft and he never saw himself above anything artistically. And so I feel like that has really been my biggest influence, is that an actor or a performer, an artist, creates art. And sometimes you get really lucky and you get to do a movie like Benjamin Button and make a lot of money and pay off bills. Yeah. And sometimes you're doing a 99-seat show in LA and you're making incredible art and 5 people are seeing it, but you're still growing as an artist.
Exactly. Right.
And so I've been very lucky to have both sides where I saw my grandmother's extreme, star quality and potential, and she was part of a system that doesn't exist anymore. And then I got to see my dad be this like working man's actor who's, got a bazillion credits to his name. And my mom, I think, had a harder time. This is my mom.
Yeah,
Patty.
your grandmother, Kathryn Grayson, and your mom, Patricia. Yeah, Patty.
Yes. And so when my
Beautiful
mom,
photo.
yeah, my mom grew up the darling of her mother and her father. But because I think she was the first generation of kids from that era, there
Yeah,
was no precedent of don't go to these parties, don't, not to say that she did, but I think there was no precedent in how to parent either. So my grandmother, from the time my mom was 2, was a single mom. As my grandfather was married 6 times, my grandmother being his second wife. So he went on and had all these different families and kids. And my mom was a lot of the time alone because my grandmother was filming or she'd be on set. And I think my grandmother was trying to overcompensate for not having a dad there, and in many ways did not do any favors to my mom.
right.
So I did not come from that. I did not grow up with a movie star parent or 2 like my mom did. So I grew up with more of like a blue collar actor dad.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that really molded my work ethic.
Grounded you too, right?
Yeah. And I loved my grandmother, and I lived with her for a time. I had a rocky childhood. We won't get into it, but I lived with her for a time, and she taught me voice. She grew up in North Carolina, and then moved to Missouri when she was young, and she was discovered and came to Hollywood at like 15. But she also came from some humble pie, and she was the most, you would not believe. Like, she looked all gorgeous and, would go out and look like $1,000,000 and then come home and be in a bathrobe and slippers for 3 days. And, and was so humble and loved just like home cooked food, and was the kind to everyone. She was from the South and from the Midwest, but didn't have a racist bone in her body. Because she was born 1922, so we're talking about a different time where she very well could have had some of that, and she didn't. And my father is Jewish, and so I was raised with this very strong justice for all, wanting to do work and projects that were important. So yeah.
So quite a background there, huh? Quite a mix, which I think is great because you've seen and heard about some of the real high points of that tremendous, glamorous Hollywood career, but then also have some of the more stable, humble background. And so it makes you really have opportunities to be balanced. That if the glamour and the glitz come your way, that's part of the glamour of the glitz, but you also know what reality is all about, and what life truly, really is about, right? Because some people, they just get hung up on the glamour and the glitz, but there's emptiness underneath. There's no foundation. There's nothing under that.
Yeah. I've been able to work with a lot of people who are like me from other Hollywood families. My friend Emily Bridges and I starred in a show a couple years ago together, and she is Beau Bridges' daughter.
Mm-hmm.
My mom actually went to school and starred in shows with Jeff Bridges here in LA. You would not meet a nicer, more politically active, kind person. She comes from all of that, background, and she's so humble and so kind. And so I almost feel like people that grow up in it, a lot of the time, we are, we know what we're getting into. Number one, we don't move here with a suitcase and a dream. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Lord knows that's so many people's story. But for those of us that have kind of grown up around it, there's a grounding, I think, where we know exactly what we're getting into. I mean, I am no spring chicken. I'm in my 40s and I'm still doing this, and I'm not a household name. And I knew going in, that's okay. My dad is 84 and worked his whole life, and he's no household name either, and that's okay. There's so many people that you have never heard of who work so hard.
Yeah, a lot of character actors and so many people. And then when they pass, that's when you're like, oh my God, he was in that, and she was in that, she was in that. That was her. Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's almost an unsung category of humans.
Character actors. Yeah.
You know, who do so, they, and like, we don't get calls with scripts like Meryl Streep does, where they just pile up and you read them and you go, yeah, I'd like to do that, and your name's on it, and then you get to do it.
Sort of pick and
Like,
choose.
for one line, I have to go to 3 auditions and a callback and be put on a veil. You know, like, there's a reality to this business that I think a lot of people don't understand. And so I'd love to be able to uplift, like, in the future somehow, like, uplift all the character actors. Like, one thing I know, one of the shows that films in New York, like NYPD Blue or something.
Sure. Yeah.
They are right now.
Blue Bloods. Yeah.
What they're trying to do is hire as many Broadway people as they can on their show, because everybody's been out of work since March, you know? And I think that's super noble.
Kelly Brighton says, "You're so kind, dear."
Kelly Brighton is the person who created the show that I'm doing voiceover on right now. I've been kind of going into voiceover.
Yeah, it's a good area. Yeah.
Yeah, so I do a show it's very funny, called Fritzy the German Kitty. Everybody look it up on Facebook and love it. I play a couple of characters on there. My husband is actually playing a character on it now. And a lot of LA stage and film actors on that show. So, and Kelly is the wonderful, he's not only on the show, but he's the creator of the show and the producer. So a lot of work.
Welcome to the Jim Masters Show Live, Kelly. A pleasure to have you here. Really, really cool. You mentioned a little bit about your grandfather, Johnny, another incredible, individual, Broadway and so much more, right?
Oh yeah, he was a recording artist. He was the first person to sing a bunch of songs in the American Songbook, and he was a contemporary of Bing Crosby and Frank Sinatra and all those crooners of the time. Gorgeous voice. Look him up. Listen to a song called "I'll Buy You a Star" from the Broadway musical Tree Grows in Brooklyn. He starred in that. And his voice was just so gorgeous and smooth. He liked the ladies. I'm not going to lie. He had a lot of ladies in his life, and he was a character.
Yeah.
Very much a product of Hollywood at that time. Once again, from the Midwest, moved to LA with a prayer and a song, and he actually starred in films and was a star on Broadway. So go dude. I actually lived with him for a time in my teen years in Florida. So I got to spend a little bit of time with him because I had so many like half aunts and uncles from all his marriages. Yeah. I didn't really ever get to know him. My mom was his only child with my grandmother. And my mom was my grandmother's only child. There's like weirdos out there that say that my grandmother had all these other kids. She didn't. I know for a fact. But he was he was a character until the bitter end, and I got to know him, and I got to listen. There's outtakes from a movie called Till the Clouds Roll By that my grandmother was in, and the powers that be at MGM wanted to marry my grandmother, and they saw how much passion was between my grandmother and my grandfather on set, so they wound up cutting his song with her and cutting him out of the film. So so he always had like
on the edit room floor, huh?
Pretty much, but there were outtakes from it, and really another song about stars. It was called I've Told Every Little Star, and it's so cute. They're both in these, they were both like these drop dead gorgeous people. So yes, your mother would have said a handsome man. He was a dashingly handsome man. He really
Johnny
was.
Johnston. Yeah, we're talking about if you're going to Google or look up her grandfather, Robert Towers, her dad, and of course Kathryn Grayson as well, grandmother. So with all of this background, were you encouraged by your family to go into the arts, to go into entertainment, to become a performer? Were they there saying, gee, if you want to do it, we'll be here to support you and root you on? What was that like early on? Some of those inspirations for you to want to do it and go into it, knowing everything you know and seeing everything you've seen?
So I started performing as a really young child. And I was in a performing group here in Los Angeles called Kids of the Century. And I think my family, it was just what we did. There are families that like fix cars or have a restaurant or, you know, that's their family business. This was my family business. This was what everyone in my family ever did. And so early on, it was very clear that this was my passion. Was I good at it yet? That was to be determined. I went through a lot of things in my childhood. We won't get into it. But as a teenager, I started going to Hollywood High Performing Arts. And I started auditioning for the shows there. And I was getting all the principal roles. And I was all of a sudden kind of like, oh, this isn't just what I love and kind of what I do. This is like, I'm good at this. I'm going to see how this continues on. Then I was accepted to AMDA in New York, American Musical and Dramatic Academy. And I went there, left home at 19, started going to school in New York. And one of the very first things I auditioned for when I came back to LA from New York was a show called HMS Pinafore. And I was at a theater called the Morgan Wixon. And that was in 1996. And so I auditioned for that show. I was given the understudy for the lead. And I was like 21 years old. I went on one weekend. And that show led me to my first national tour, which was HMS Pinafore a year later. I did like 7 national tours in a row. I did that. I did the Mikado, where I got to star in it with my father, which was really gross because we were betrothed. Now, the good news is that my character is not supposed to like the character she's betrothed to, and she finds someone her age and falls in love, and he's, you know, it's Coco and Yum Yum, but it was very weird to be betrothed to my dad, but it was so awesome to work with him because I was an adult getting to tour the country in a bus and go to these like gorgeous performing arts centers with my dad and perform operetta. And that's really, I'm a soprano who studied musical theater in the early 90s in New York. And then all of a sudden Rent came out in 1995 and musical theater changed. Overnight, it was, I am now at like 25 a relic because I'm a soprano who is not a rock singer. And so I had to pivot a lot. I was very lucky because I continued to make my living doing musical theater. Like you said, I was at Sierra Rep. I played Violet in the show Violet up there. I played younger Violet. And then in 2015, I wound up finally playing older Violet here in LA and winning a bunch of awards for it. Violet is a more poppy musical. So I had to really if I wanted to have a career in musical theater, I could not stay sounding like my grandmother. And and it wasn't that I was trying to sound like my grandmother, because her voice, as gorgeous as it was, you don't hear that now, right?
Right.
So it was just my natural voice. I was a high, legit soprano. And so I had to start finding my niche, like what makes me different. And what made me different was being funny. And so I started, even when I was playing Anne in A Little Night Music, which is this glorious soprano role, I was finding all the humor. And so what it opened up to me was, that's what would set me apart, right? I would go to an audition and there would be all these women with these gorgeous instruments, but they weren't necessarily actresses who were funny.
Right.
And so to me, the best musical theater performers, I'm not talking about people you just listen to on an album. I'm talking about musical theater actresses are actresses first and foremost. And then they also are incredible singers.
Right.
But if you're not an actress, I don't care, and most people don't, right? So that's what I found in my travels, going through being in roles where the voice was everything, was that my funny and my acting ability, or not even just my funny, like my oomph and my gumption and my dramatic ability and my ability to get out of my way as an actress, and the fact that I looked a lot younger than my age. So I was 27 playing a 14-year-old in Violet, and nobody questioned it.
No,
I was about to get married. Nobody thought a thing, because I'm 5 feet tall. So I've always looked younger. But my point is, I think that's the difference. And so when I'm teaching now, I'm teaching at the Morgan Wixon, by the way.
Oh, terrific.
The theater that I first worked at when I came back from New York in 1996, I am now directing there. That's where I directed Wild Party. And I am now teaching teenagers that are about the same age that I was when I moved back from New York.
It's sensational.
I'm teaching them. And what am I teaching them? How to act the snot out of their songs. Rather than, because anybody with a good voice can sing, but not everybody is a great performer. And not everybody is a great actress who can take dialogue and go from dialogue into singing, and it's seamless, and right back to dialogue. And it's about the story, and it's not about you, and it's not about closing your eyes and hearing how pretty your voice is. It's about telling the story and serving the piece. And so I feel like that's my strength, and that's what I learned from my father, who is such an amazing actor. My grandmother, when she was allowed in certain films, she was to be the ingenue. She was actually brought to MGM to go up against Deanna Durbin, who was making a lot of money and pulling Universal out of bankruptcy. And so she was to be this, like, don't ask questions, little soprano, beautiful, girl. But then when she was given roles where she actually got to have some oomph, she was also a wonderful actress. And so taking all of that experience of watching how my grandmother's career happened, watching how hard my father worked, who wasn't part of a studio system and still continued to work, and also trusting my gut that theater was the key to all of that for me. I grew up in Hollywood, and I went to Hollywood High, and my passion and my focus was theater, because to me that's where the boys become men. And so
and you love Broadway, and you love New York, and you love
I do.
You have a place and a heart there, don't you?
I do. I come back and forth, and when we can travel, I go to New York as much as I can, and I have so many friends there still. Some of my best friends who've put me on their couch and are great to me. And so it's I feel very blessed. And now here I am with my 3 children, who are all in their ways artists too, and grew up doing commercials here. Will be able to go to college from the commercial work that they did. I never forced on them, and now they're kind of like, and I'm like, fine, less time for me to drive around the city if you don't want to do it. I'm not one of those, like, you have to do it. When they were little, and they loved, like, being on set and craft service and all those things, and now they're kind of like, I just want to be a kid right now. I'm like, aces, go be a kid. I'm not gonna, like, you kind of were asking about that. I never was forced into it. In fact, I think it was the other way around. I was kind of like, hey, I'm good at this, remember me?
Right.
But there was so much struggle for everybody around me that it was like, you'll get there. You'll do you, boo. And so I did. So I went to school in New York, and I did my thing, and I've just kind of worked hard. I think the one thing that this time has shown is that I've had time to actually, like, instead of scratching and going to the next audition and being in 3 shows at the same time. And I mean, there was a time a couple years ago where I was directing 2 shows at the same time in a show and about to open another show out of town, literally at the same time. And while raising 3 children and trying to be a good friend, and, that is not sustainable. But it was what I needed to do at the time, because, again, I'm not a household name, and I'm not 20, and I'm in a town where you're old at 25. Yeah. So, and then people knew I had children. So if you have children, you're automatically somebody's mom, even if you don't look anything like somebody's mom. People see me in broad daylight all the time, think I'm in my 20s and I'm in my 40s. And so I think this time has allowed me to kind of look back on how my hustle has gone.
Yeah.
And watch the hustle of those around me and go,
Mhm.
it's okay
Right.
to take it all in
And breathe.
say no to some things if I need to, and to develop some other skill sets that, again, I don't think anything that you do as a human being takes away from you as a performer. I think it makes you a richer actress, makes your interpretation of other people's art more rich when you have some life experience and your whole life hasn't been show to show and what your friends are doing. When you've taken the time to be in love, to get your heart broken, I think those are important things. If you're playing a character, if you're in musicals, your heart's being broken constantly on stage.
Constantly
I'm
on
sorry.
stage, right?
You know, if you haven't gone through that in your life, you're not pulling from anything real. You're pulling
Correct, right.
from, the surface. And so I've, dang it, gotten my heart broken. And I'm glad because it's enriched. And then this, like, I think about COVID and I think about how we're all sitting here, doing what we have to do to survive, working from home, working from our computers, making our food every day. I'm a cook, so I'm cooking literally like 15 meals a day. One of my children is vegan, so I'm making, a vegan version of the same meal I'm making for everyone, whatever it is. And it's been a lot, but at the same time, like, then I look at the people that have not been so lucky, and so I'm like, I am so freaking lucky. Yeah. Like, I think all of us that are sitting here right now, where we're safe at home, we have things that we can do to keep us safe and still survive.
Because there's people in hospitals, people on food lines, people that don't know where their rent payments or mortgage payments coming from. And it's right. All you have to do, I always tell people that, if you're complaining about this, that, and the other thing, and you can't get all the buzz and the bling and all those things that people seem to have, such a craving for, look at somebody that, is in a wheelchair. Look at somebody that's in a hospital, somebody that, can't do the things that you're able to do. And the fact we're even here talking and sharing and laughing, and we are ahead of the game in so many different, and that can change on a dime too.
Correct.
So there's the understanding of, hey, appreciate what you do have, and let's have a little more empathy and compassion for others and more humanity. One of the things, and I've said it multiple times in the show, is I'm hoping that, out of everything that we've been going through individually and collectively with the pandemic and the economy and the societal unrest and the political craziness, is hopefully we're more empathetic and more compassionate, and we come together more, and less hatred, violence, divisiveness all the way around, and just rise from the ashes, not returning to normal, but going towards better.
Yes.
That's what I really hope.
Yes, that was someone's slogan, "Build Back Better," during the election. And I don't remember even who said that, but I love that idea that, like, we can't just go back to the way it was, which is why we're in the mess we're in. Like, we have to learn from this, and we have to every day wake up and go, I am so blessed that is not me, or, that I can make a difference here. And that's why, that's why I went back to school. I want to help people. Nobody should be starving. But also, that's why I'm teaching, because yes, I'm teaching theater and I'm teaching specific technique of dissecting your song and, like, what did, Mr. Gershwin really mean here? And, I'm teaching kids Sondheim. I'm a huge Sondheim person. I've played most of the leading women in Sondheim musicals. I've done the show putting it together. I did 2 productions back to back for like 7 months of my life, where I got to sing all the like Grand Dam songs. And so that's my absolute passion. But it's more than that to me. In teaching kids to dissect these songs, I'm asking them to look at humanity. I'm asking them to look at compassion, empathy, sadness, and to try to understand where that character's coming from. That's what makes you a good actor, right? Is looking at the circumstances given to you in the text, and then why does the character react the way the character does? And where is the compassion? And where is the joy? And to watch like teenagers look at a piece, look at something like Carousel, right? This classic musical, and have to understand why this character stays with a man who hurts her today in 2021, where that was much more of an accepted thing even 20 years ago.
Right.
But to look at that character not with the eyes of TikTok, but to look at it as in humanity and go, oh, she was probably, came from a life of abuse before this marriage. And then she married into someone who reminded her of her father. And like, just the act of having to do that performer becomes so much more in tune with their humanity and other people's. And that's why I believe I look at my Facebook feed, for example, and 90% of my friends are in the business or surrounding the business or whatever. The compassion that I see most of the time, the posting about, being careful with COVID and wearing a mask, and the people that I see that believe in, that we are connected and that we need to help each other. And so many of those people come from the arts. Mm-hmm. And I feel that the arts are so essential. They're always like put to the side. And look at the arts right now. Like look at artists right now and how few dollars are in any budget, and yet the arts are where we learn humanity. And there's direct correlation. My husband is a music teacher. And there's direct correlation to prison systems, to rehab systems, where you look at people who have not had any kind of arts appreciation, and there's higher rates of all kinds of violence, because there's just not, because compassion is not something that is taught in books, right? Mm-hmm. It's taught in group situations. Very often in sports, there's things like that taught, like, good sportsmanship and congratulating the victors and things like that. But it's also, nothing dissects humanity like the arts. So I would just like to say to everyone out there, if you can in any way support any arts organizations right now, the Actors Fund or anything that will allow artists to continue literally paying their rent or eating, it would be wonderful for you to do that. $10, $5, 5 cents, it doesn't matter. But theater is vital. So, and thank you all for saying those things.
I agree.
I think it's really important.
It really, really is. It really is, my friend. And I want to, I have a little clip here that we want to share. And tell us about this one. It's very short, but it's kind of cool. Bushel and a Peck.
Oh, I think I was auditioning for, my friend was the director of the show I Love Lucy Live. My friend Rick Sparks, who is an amazing director and performer himself. And he was pitching me to the production team. And they wanted something from the period, 40s, 50s, and cutesy. So I was throwing together a little audition for him.
Here it is, gang. Bushel and a Peck. Enjoy, and then we'll be right back. It's real quick, and it's really cool. Here we go.
Thanks.
I love you, a bushel and a peck, a bushel and a peck.
Bravo.
And there's the high note at the end. That's the one thing I do always do. If I have to do something that's kind of like belty and mid-range, I'll always be like, oh, by the way, I've sung Christine in Phantom, and I'll sing a big old high note at the end. Because that does set me apart.
Absolutely. Bernadette goes, great. My mother sang this to me ever since I was a baby, and I still sing it to my kiddo.
I love that song.
Bushel and a Peck. Yeah. Really, really cool song. I want to go through some of these photos, too. We've got a wonderful array of photos of things that you've been involved in. Yes. Tell us about this one.
So this is a film called Emily or Oscar that I've been so lucky to work on. It's still in like post-production right now. The wonderful Christopher Alport was thank you. Christopher Alport was the creator of that and the star of the film, and he brought me in to play this like very funny kind of offbeat character called Mama Makeup, and I was like, yes, please, because I love that I get to do something different. And I grabbed the lead actress's boobs at one point, and it's like awesome. It's so fun. She's like the sage on the sets, and she'll come up and basically tell the actress what to do in her ear, and kind of changes the trajectory of things. It's so fun. So yeah, I did that movie. Been working on that for a couple of years actually, because it was originally a short that got turned into a feature. Oh yeah, this was an amazing short that I was in, which was kind of like a Urinetown knockoff, where you have to sing to eat. It's like, you can tell it's supposed to be kind of, Cold War looking. And I was a dancer. I will tell you all that I am a actress who sings and moves very well. But I am not a dancer, where, like, to me, a dancer is someone you can speak it to them and they just get it overnight, get it in a second and they can just do it. That is not me. If I have 6 weeks, though, I will look like a dancer. But yeah, that was super fun to work on. And again, like, I got to use my musical theater stuff on camera.
That's awesome.
Again, with Christopher Alport, Christopher put together this awesome video of All I Care About Is Love from the musical Chicago. And, I was on set with these girls and I was holding my own, but I could have birthed pretty much all of them. So I was very proud of myself that on camera, when you see the video, it doesn't look like I'm their mom. So I was like, yes. Because corsets are your friend.
Corsets are your friend.
Yes. So that was fun. This is a very funny short film that I was a part of that my very good friend Travis Dixon created, where there's two socks and they're like searching the world, and I think they're a pair. Yeah. And the pair gets disconnected like socks do. Yeah. And they find themselves in all these different kinds of things, and I'm one of the tap dancers wearing one of the socks at the time. So it's very funny.
A Glory Sewn.
A Glory Sewn.
It's a great name.
Which was like up for a bunch of awards and stuff. Oh gosh, this was hilarious. I got to be Russian in this.
Really?
Fun show. Yes, it was a web series. And very off color. Just I'm warning you, if you don't like language, do not click on that one. But it was very funny. And I got to be a Russian spy. And I never had played Russian before, even though I'm half Russian. I never played it. So it was really fun for me.
That is cool.
Yeah. This is a short film. I actually got to work with my daughter. She gets killed in this film. But my youngest daughter, she's a little ginger herself. And I have to put mine back. As you can see, I have to put mine back soon. But she is like I was, natural ginger. And so we played mother and daughter in this, and it was really fun to do that.
That's cool. That's cool. So these opportunities are always fantastic when they come.
Yeah. So this is very interesting. I am a professional Christmas caroler, and I've been with the same company, Voices of Christmas, here in Los Angeles for 20 years. And every December from like basically from like Thanksgiving to New Year's, up until this year, actually.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
sing all over Los Angeles. I have been with the company so long and I know my book really well. We have about 108 songs in our book.
Yeah.
And so I get the really sweet gigs where I'm at Lowry's and we go table to table and we sing people's favorite songs and we work in quartets. It's all a cappella. It's a joy. It's an absolute joy. And
That's
this is
cool.
a documentary about that company. Now, I will say, again, for the faint of heart, there is language in this thing because there was like a fight among some of the people. I had nothing to do with that. I'm just singing in this. There's no craziness. So, but there's crazy in the movie
But there's
itself.
crazy in it.
Yes.
And then, of course, Lovely Lineage. Tell us about this, where you're actually paying homage to your grandmother, Kathryn Grayson, and family. That started as a show that was actually happening, and then did COVID stop it, or did it stop before COVID? And now it could be a web series, which is exciting.
Yeah, it's really exciting. So we have a really amazing company here in Los Angeles called New Musicals Inc. And they are kind of a ground floor for building musicals. So composers and writers will go and try out their stuff there, and they have a core group of actors. And they contacted me and said, would you want to make a web series of your one-woman show? And I was like, okay. I never even thought of that. I'm really someone who prefers to, especially when I'm singing, to be on stage, because I'm big as we're sitting here talking. So you can imagine when I'm like performing in a small space, it's a lot. And I have to constantly be like, Kristina, the camera, and I didn't grow up really on camera. I grew up on stage. So I am constantly set for 1,500 seats. That's about my range.
That's your range.
That's when I wake up in the morning. That's my range. So it was a lot to adjust, and we did film at the studio there. It was with no audience, which is very weird. But we did it. And then they called me to do reshoots. And I was like, cool, let's do it. And then COVID hit. So we're waiting until everything's back to safety to finish it up. But yes, it will be coming out. And it's going to be on the New Musicals Inc., which is called NMI. It's going to be on their YouTube channel.
Oh, that's exciting. Do you know when roughly, or they're still working on that?
It's just, we have to do reshoots. So as soon as that is, as soon as those reshoots have been shot and everything's edited, I'll let you know. I'll send you a message because I would love for you to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're shooting it right there in the LA area.
Yep.
Pretty much. And
it's a small studio, so I think it's just, we have to be COVID safe. I can't wear a mask and shoot my show. I can't do that. So
I think that they just lifted the stay-at-home orders or something in California too, right? Where you can move around a little bit more.
They did at the state level. They lifted, like, there are several counties where their numbers are way lower
than LA.
Here in LA County is like the worst in the world right now.
It's tough. Yeah.
And so I don't know how they're going to lift everything here. I think the county, we're going to find out probably today.
What they're going to determine.
Thank you, Bernadette. Yeah, we're going to find out today what exactly we can do here in LA. I mean, I'm very mixed about it because I want restaurants to not go under and I want people to survive, but I also don't want people to die. So it's like, and the problem is that when things were open before here in LA, people were not distancing the way they needed to. Even though the restaurants would set it up that way, people were really lackadaisical about masks.
Wear the mask. You have to. I think they said today they'll, if you continue to wear the masks, or if you start to wear the mask, save between 50 to 75,000 lives, because they're saying by February, 600,000 people, which is extraordinary. They said that today.
That's, I mean,
unheard of. That's like every war and I've said it oftentimes, even on this show and in my professional work in television, radio, I've said, I think the only three people that could have scripted any of the things that have gone on from last year to now would have been Steven Spielberg, Stephen King, or Rod Serling. That's about it.
I mean, truly, it has been like living in the Twilight Zone. You're correct. It's, you know,
a Stephen King novel. Yeah.
I think hopefully we will now have a very clear understanding of what the boundaries are, what is expected of us, so that we can all be a part of the solution. Because as we've seen, if you're not a part of the solution, you're a part of the problem. And so, you know, I went on today and I found some N95 masks that a private company is making. It has nothing to do with the supply chain to hospitals. And so there were $10 a piece. I bought one for each of my family members.
Right.
They're reusable. You put them in the oven for a few minutes, actually, because they have metal in them. You can't put them in the microwave or wash them normally. So you put them in the oven and it kills anything. And it's supposed to be like 99% effective, the N95s.
Wow. So
there are solutions out there, and I encourage everyone watching. I hope that you will do what you can. I'm sure you will, because you're good people. So we all just need to do this and get together. That's my silliness. That was
it's a great shot.
Thank you. That was me doing my solo show here at the Federal in LA, again with Michael Sterling producing it. It was so fun.
I know you miss it too. You miss the ability to do all that, don't you? Like everybody.
I really do. And I feel like there's not really a good substitute. I've done some readings online. I'm actually doing a concert next week. We have a wonderful group here in LA that has been raising money through Facebook for singers who have been out of work since like the second week of COVID. And a bunch of my my singers from the show I was directing have been on this show. And then they came to me and I was like, yeah, I want to do it. So it's going to be like a love theme for Valentine's Day.
Oh, nice.
And it will be next week. And I'm going to post it on my Facebook. I have a Facebook page that's not a friend page. It's just a professional page called Kristin Towers-Rowles, actress director. So if you look that up, everything that I'm doing, I throw it on there.
You keep it updated there. Here's another cool shot.
Thank you. Yeah, I was playing. That was the show I did with Emily Bridges. It was actually it was a murder mystery show, and I was kind of this snotty actress. I had to dig real deep for the snotty actress. But it was super fun, and I love getting to wear corsets. Again, another corset. So that's cool. Whenever you get me in a corset, I'm happy. Especially after 3 kids.
That's right. Don't talk to the face. Talk to the mirror. Exactly. Everyone says this looks like I'm playing Ariel in Little Mermaid. It does, right? Bit. It's cool. But kind of mean Ariel. Bombshells Live. Yeah, I helped develop a show with someone who he directed and created shows for cruise ships. And so I could have birthed every single one of these young women. And I was sitting there like, oh, I'm going to have to wear tights and a leotard next to these girls. And I did, and no one knew. And we filmed this Bombshells Live so that he could market the show to different cruise ships. And then the show was being sold. Yep, there we are. Okay, I kind of look like their mom a little in that picture. But we were marketing to different ships, and then of course there's no cruises right now. So we shall see if the show gets picked up. It was super fun. I've never gotten to sing things like Donna Summer. This is us doing this whole Donna Summer amazing montage. It was 7 minutes of pure Donna Summer, and I'm dancing, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so old compared to these girls. But then at the end, he was like, everybody needs to watch Kirstin, watch her energy level. And I was like, bless you, sir, because I feel like I'm gonna die.
So
I just want to take these shoes off and stretch
yeah,
my
exactly.
legs. Yeah.
Exactly. So it was super fun to work on that. And again, like, it's so funny. This is the kind of performer I am. I filmed this and I ran from this filming to a rehearsal for All My Sons, which is an Arthur Miller drama.
Yeah.
On the same day, I was playing Anne, which is one of the female leads, like the ingenue lead. And I was like 43 years old playing the ingenue lead and dancing with these 20-year-olds. And I was like, what is my life? But I'm like, if they keep paying me and they keep hiring me, I'm going to do it. Yeah. So this is one of the best nights of my life. You and I are both friends with Allie England.
Yes.
So the way I met Allie England is she came into audition to play Mrs. Lovett in a production of Sweeney Todd that I directed here in Los Angeles. It wound up winning Musical of the Year. Now, Allie was already in New York. She had left to go to New York by that time. So she's not in this picture. But this was me accepting the award for Best Musical of the Year, which is a big deal because I'm a trained actress and a trained singer. I am not a trained director. I started directing several years back. And it's so funny because now so many people know me as a director. And they're like, oh, you sing? Or, I'm like... This is what I do. But, and it's also that I think people have a hard time. I'm a woman. I don't come off as like hard-ass director and I'm not a guy. I'm not a man.
Right.
So I've faced a lot of things around that. And so to win Musical of the Year in Los Angeles, which is second only really to New York as far as theater is concerned in the country, I would say Chicago and LA. We have the second highest amount of equity members in LA outside of New York City. Because so many people move here from their Broadway career and start doing film and television. So to have this amazing cast that I had with Allie England and the guy who played, his name is escaping me right now because I'm old, but the guy who played our Sweeney was a Broadway vet and amazing. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you for saying that. It makes me happy because I just talk. But anyway, that was a great night.
We love that.
It was a great night to be recognized for the work that I did on that show.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and that our cast got recognized. Oh, well, you can't really see the beauty of this shot because my legs are... this is me actually playing May in Wild Party in 2016. I just directed the show in 2020, which is the one that didn't get to open. But this was me actually in the show, getting to play... I got to play this kind of... I've played this a lot, a blonde floozy. I've played a lot of blonde floozies for some reason. I believe that floozies need to be played by really smart women. I think that if a woman is too much like her character, she will not understand the funny.
Right.
So I've played Audrey 3 different times in Little Shop of Horrors. I've played Norma Cassidy in Victor Victoria. And May in Wild Party. Audrey is heartbreaking and lovely, but there's still some floozy there. Like, she talks about being a floozy and being with bad men and having a past and all those things. So, that is where I found my niche. Blonde floozies. Anybody that's casting a blonde floozy, give me a call. I'm really good. And I'm really short, so I work really well. And
it's such an old school word too, isn't it? Floozy.
I know, and I need to come up with something better. But I mean, like gangster's girl kind of, like where she's always chewing gum and saying the wrong sentence in the wrong. Yeah. Floozy. Exactly. So. Anyway, that's when theater comes back. I cannot wait to play more floozies.
Here, I showed this before. That's a beautiful shot.
Thank you. Yeah, that was me playing. That was my solo show at Sierra Madre Playhouse. They had done a beautiful production of A Walk in the Woods, and they had me do my show on that set. And I just thought it's so perfect.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, when you do a solo show, you're kind of at the will of whatever the theater has. And they just so happen to have this gorgeous setup and this beautiful lighting. And so I used it. I even used that rock you're seeing back there. They put it down on stage left.
Really?
And I, you know, my grandmother starred in Camelot on Broadway. She actually
Yes.
took over for Julie Andrews.
That's
And
right.
so my show is, I do a timeline kind of my grandmother's stuff. And I sing it and I show pictures and I tell stories. And then I move through kind of like my mom being born and how my mom was also a soprano and she played roles. And then my dad met my mom. My dad was the original Snoopy in Your Good Man, Charlie Brown. And then I've been able to play Sally in Charlie Brown. So I get to kind of, tell my story and perform the things that I'm good at the same time. And a lot of people come because they're like, oh, I love Kathryn Grayson. Let's see what this is about. And then they wind up enjoying not only the stories about her and stuff, but the whole thing about my history, the stuff about the fact that I have children, and then also getting to hear me do my thing, which is kind of fun. I hope that, that's like, that the marriage of those things is good. I've had friends say things like, you need to not talk about who your grandmother is. And I'm like, but that's part of who I am and my story. And it makes me different. I'm not just some girl that, I'm not saying that that's bad to be just some girl, but my story is my story and I want to tell it. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
That's why there's a lovely lineage. It's part of that. It's part of you. And it's a wonderful thing to pay homage to the family history and also, your interpretation and the essence of you is blended in. So it's a great idea and it's spectacular. It really is. And this too.
So that was my last acting job, which closed March 1st of 2020. This is the longest running show in Los Angeles. It is at that mansion that you see there. It's called The Manor, and it is actually the story of the people who owned that house. And there was a whole murder that happened, and I play a real, a person that actually existed during that time. And it tells how the murders happened, and it's really creepy because it's very inclusive. Like the audience sits in the rooms where these things happened, and we walk and go within rooms, and sometimes you have to do the same scene 3 times because they have to shuffle the audience around. And there's times where I'm not on stage or in the action, and I'm in the holding room by myself in this like literal haunted mansion. And I was new to the production this last year, and they were hiring me back. They were like, oh my gosh, we love you so much. And then COVID. So hopefully the Manor will come back. And if any of you are visiting Los Angeles, this is a huge tourist attraction. It's every year. They do it in like late January through March-ish.
Right.
It kind of varies year to year. It's at this beautiful mansion in Beverly Hills. It's historic. And you can't go in this mansion without going to this show.
Right.
Yeah. So, and I've lived here, most of my life, and I had never been to the show. So my first time seeing the show was literally being in the show.
Being in it.
Yeah, it was so fun. So this is a great thing if you ever come to Los Angeles. Look it up. It's through Theater 40. I'm a company member of Theater 40, and it is an equity contract. I was so excited, and I was so excited to go back, and here we are. So can't wait.
Cool. That is cool.
Yeah. So this was a good day.
Yeah.
We have an amazing man here in Los Angeles. He is what I would consider the angel of theater in Southern California. His name is Stephen Stanley, and he created these awards And I had said that I had a back injury that kept me from working for several years. So when I came back to doing theater it was like 2009, I did this concert, and he found me afterward. At the concert I had done, someone announced that I was Kathryn Grayson's granddaughter. And so he found me on Facebook and was like, I went to school with your mother. They weren't friends, but he was in grades younger than my mom, but he remembered seeing her on stage. She had a beautiful voice, the whole thing. So he and I became friends, and he would religiously come to like everything that I ever did. And he started a few years before this. He actually gave me Breakthrough Musical Theater Star of the Year. And here I was at like 30 something years old with 3 kids. And I won this award. And I was like, I wonder if I really should really be doing this, again. And I did. And I went on to do so many things past that award, because it was like, okay, this isn't in my head. I'm actually like, I know I'm not 20. And I know women are so undervalued once we hit, 30, but I'm going to keep going. And I did, and it's been an amazing journey. And if I can just say to any women out there, and I think this counts for any industry that you're in, please don't listen to all of that. I wouldn't have done anything that I've done over the last 10 years. I wouldn't be about to direct a national tour when things come back. I wouldn't have won all these awards and have these amazing memories and played bucket list roles that I was waiting to play if I had listened for 1 second to naysayers who were like, oh, women are dried up at, 30 or whatever. It's all lies and crap. And I just want to encourage any women out there who are feeling that, shut your mouth and just do what you want to do, and don't listen to them, because it's not healthy. It's not healthy.
Very true. Right. Very true.
And I wanted my daughters to see that. I wanted them to be like, you know what? My mom she's still killing it, at whatever age. So
that's
I think
cool.
It's important.
It's a great message for everybody watching live or in the archives, that, sometimes we get hung up on those little things like that. And that's not what life's all about at all. That's not at all what life's about. And that's a cool message. You mentioned you teach. Tell us about the teaching. You really enjoy teaching, huh?
I do. Okay, so there's also a falsehood out there, and this misnomer that those that don't teach, or those that can't teach. And that is such crap too, because I went to Amden, New York, and my teachers were on Broadway at night and teaching during the day. Why? Because it's so expensive to live in New York that they had to teach to survive, but also because they're passing on these amazing lessons, not just how to sing and dance, not just how to break down a monologue. All that is technical. But it's like, I had teachers in their 50s who were still on Broadway when I was a 19-year-old, and I'm going, do I have a trajectory here? Yes, you do. Because look at me, I'm 50 and I'm still doing this. And so when I was approached last semester, like the end of the summer, do you want to teach musical theater? It's going to be on Zoom. It's going to be, with your computer, and you're not going to be able to physically be there. I was like, yes, I do. And pretty much all of the students that I had last semester are coming back this semester because they loved it. I teach alongside the woman who created the program. We teach together, which at first I was like, oh God, I hope I'm good enough to work with her. Yeah. And we complement each other's strengths so well. Her name is Ann Gessling. She's amazing. She's been honored so much. She started this program 25 years ago, and there are a bunch of people on Broadway right now who came through this program, and she wanted me to be a part of it. It's also that I've directed 2 shows there, and they know where I'm coming from, and they know that I'm all about like the prep and the work. and they wanted that passed on to their teens in this program. And these are like, a lot of these kids are about to graduate and go into college programs, and they're great. And they've grown because something about being on Zoom, there's no antics. They're not in the room with each other. There's no silliness. They have an hour and a half once a week to like focus and like do the work. And I saw just tremendous growth in these kids. And I just think all artists should pour as much as they can into young people, because those are your audiences coming up. You know, when you do theater and you look out at an audience, a lot of the time it is a sea of older people, because, you know, generationally people were brought up in theater. They loved theater and all of that. Well, those people are not going to be around forever. Right. We need young people to love and appreciate the arts, you know? You are still a spring chicken, Juanita. But so I always tell artists, like, the more you can pour into the younger generation, not even if they're not going to do this for their life, and that's okay, because I don't think everybody's cut out for this for their life. Even if it's just that they love it forever, that is so valuable to what we do, right? Somebody's got to be out there buying tickets for me to do what I do. Right. And so the more teaching artists, and really that's a different thing than being just a teacher, you know? Yes, age is just a number. When we are performers ourselves and we're taking all of that with us into what we teach, I think there's nothing better.
Absolutely. Great messages, and very positive messages too. You wanted to share a little something, a little tune with us live for our Loveity viewers, right? What is it that you wanted to share, sort of a cappella?
So a few years ago, I was in the Candor and Ebbs show, And the World Goes Round, which is a review of a lot of their biggest hits, but some of the stuff that people don't know as well too. And then the same producers decided they wanted to record a full album of the show. There is an album that exists of the original production, and there was only like 2/3 of the show recorded, and so there was stuff that was left off of that recording. And so Bruce Kimmel from Kritzerland Records, he produced the album, and I was the only non-Broadway person on the album. Everyone that I was in the production with was replaced except for me for the album, and I got to do it with Christian Knoll, Jason Graw, Brent Barrett, and Kira DaCosta, all Broadway vets. Yeah. And this is a song that is from a show called Flora the Red Menace. And this song is just, to me, I feel like it's very inspiring for this moment that we're in right now, where we can take stock of the things that are important. And the album is on Kritzerland if you're interested in getting it. It's it's called the new cast album of And the World Goes Round.
Fantastic.
So I don't have any music, but I'm going to sing it a cappella.
You're a pro.
All right. Let me.
All right. And here she is. Here's Kristin, live from her bedroom
in Los Angeles.
Bedroom in LA.
I'm in my bedroom, just so you know, because I have 3 animals and 3 kids and a husband who teaches trumpet. So this was the quietest place. So I'm sorry I don't have a very fun background.
They are very quiet too.
I know.
They're like.
Oh, there were deals broached for that. Made.
Yeah. It's going to be a fabulous dinner tonight.
Exactly. That I have to go cook.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Here we go.
All right. When it all comes true, just the way you've planned, it's funny, but the bells don't ring. It's a quiet thing When you hold the world in your trembling hand, you think you'd hear a choir sing. It's a quiet thing. There are no exploding fireworks. Where's the roaring of the crowds? Maybe it's this strange new atmosphere way up here among the clouds. But I don't hear the drums, I don't hear the band. The sounds, I'm told, such moments bring. Happiness comes in on tiptoe. Well, what do you know? It's a quiet thing. A very quiet thing.
Bravo, bravo.
Thank you.
That was really, really beautiful. And you did it very softly and beautifully, because that you mentioned to me before we went live on air, that could be a song that could also be really belted out at larger levels, but you sort of tempered it a little bit, which is beautiful. You did it was spectacular.
Well, when I told you before the show, when I recorded the album, I got to do this really cool thing with Michael Sterling where I got to speak with John Kander. He actually surprised me. He surprised me. I was speaking to Michael Sterling. I'd been on his show several times, and all of a sudden he's like, I have a special guest, and it was John Kander. Thank you all so much. And he said that it was his favorite song he ever wrote. Wow. He said, I wrote it for a dancer. I didn't write it for a singer. I wrote it for someone who wasn't primarily a singer so that it could be acted well. And the song has always stuck with me, and the fact that I got to sing it all in an album is one of the highlights of my life.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
if you ever hear the album, we had glorious musicians working with us on that. And so there's like strings, and I mean, it's just stunning.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. And great comments, Merlin in Canada. Thank you. Kristin, that was lovely. Juanita in South Africa. Beautiful. What a lovely voice. Angela Ferrer sang beautiful.
Thank you.
Mary Bishop in Florida. Beautiful song, beautiful singer, sung beautifully. Bernadette also sang how absolutely lovely. What are some of the things that continue to bring you great blessing and joy in your life? I mean, obviously, you have this extraordinary and unique background with the lineage, but you're also your own person. You bring your own nuances, your own essences, your own life experiences to your body of work. There might be tricklings of your father and you and your mother and your grandfather and your grandmother and all these different people. They're in all of us, and that's a beautiful thing, but you are also your own person, and you've carved out a life that is your own person. I have another friend, actually, whose mother is a very well-known singer from the 60s in rock and roll. And one of my best friends, and he carved out his own life, pays homage to the family and his mother's incredible career, and she's still performing and has worked with some of the greats, Beatles, Rolling Stones, whatever, but he still carved out his own thing. And you've been able to do that as well within this wonderful arena that you have. And what are some of those things that continue to, allow you to forge forward and create and love the process at the same time? Because you've seen it really from all aspects. You've seen what the glitz is about. You've seen the bare bones of it. You've seen on stage. You've seen what goes on behind the camera, behind stage. the business side of it. You've really got a good, well-rounded view of what it's all about.
I think that continues to change for me. I think the thing that right now that is so important to me is social justice issues, creating art that can point to, that can point to some of the inequities in, thank you so much, Christine, that can point to the inequities in our society, whether that's poverty, racism, starvation, those kinds of things, the way women and young girls are treated throughout the world, and what I can bring to that, using my unique gifts and preparing my 3 children to go into the world and also do those things. I will say the time that I've been able to spend with them during this tumultuous time in all the ways in our country and the world, it's been awesome to have some of these hard conversations. Living in Los Angeles, I live very close to where we had a lot of unrest during the summer with protests, and these were not peaceful protests. There were peaceful protests, and then there wasn't. And so to be in the middle of that, we couldn't not have those conversations. And I feel like art needs to be at the forefront again, like I said, to bring awareness and help equip human beings with empathy, sympathy, and look to the future. And so, again, this has been a horrible time, but I have tried to use it to equip myself to do good things, to help people that are having food injustice, which is so often, unfortunately, based on racism and redlining and terrible things. So once you know something is there, you have 2 choices. You can either ignore it or you can do something about it. Mm-hmm. I've decided I want to do something about it. And I think art is a huge tool in that, but I don't think it's the only thing I want to do.
Right.
I used to not be able to imagine a life where I wasn't on stage or I wasn't or directing. And now I think I can do other things and still do that and help the world.
Something else inside you that's burning and yearning. Yeah.
A lot of my friends have said I should run for office. Yeah. That's a whole other thing, because there are lots of skeletons in this closet, let me tell you.
Run for or run from?
Exactly. I would love to run for office. This is not the moment I want to be doing that, but who knows down the line. I think what I really want to do right now is I want to support candidates who are of color, who are women, who are LGBTQ and underrepresented, and get more representation for everyone throughout our government. That's where I want to go with it right now.
More reflective of what America is all about, really, right? Yeah.
Yeah, what it should be about. What it we talk about all these ideals, but it's like, actually, I really want to. I want to do that. I don't want to talk about it.
What would you say to somebody who's considering a career in these industries, performance, entertainment, the arts, going in? Maybe somebody that isn't even necessarily a youngster, but of any age, that wants at this time to go into these industries. I know a lot of people I've asked that question of have said, number one, you really have to love it. You have to be all in and love it, because there's so many variables. There's so much disappointment, rejection. You got to pivot. You got to be flexible. There's sacrifice, blood, sweat, and tears, hours, weekends. You have to really make sure that you're not halfway in. You've got to be all in.
Well, let me just give you a little story. When I was going to school in New York, I had an old school musical theater teacher. First day, he got up and he used some expletive, and he was like, "Did that shock you? Because you're from Ohio," whatever. And he's like, "I have news. If that shocks you, you're in the wrong business. And if you can see yourself doing anything else, go. And we had a class of 20. Within a month, we lost 5 people. Because I think the reality of how difficult this is and the feast or famine of our lives in this business, it's really hard. And it's hard for single people. It's hard for married. It's hard, just period. I think I'm coming from a different place than most because my dad was a working actor. So I knew what those ups and downs were. I'd watch my dad get all the way to like producers on a big TV show for the very, like the lead of a show. And they'd pick someone else who was more of a name. So I think just going into something, knowing that the reason you're doing it is because you can't not do it. Like there's no option to not do it. If there's an option to not do it, there's so much amazing regional and community theater all over this country. And you can do it for something you love. You can go to rehearsal at night and have a day job during the day that supports you, and that is totally fine. But if you want, if you want something normal, if you want health insurance and all these things, this is not the career where that's going to happen.
Or 9 to 5 hours,
But if you know that life happens one time and you must do this because this is your absolute heart's calling, get on that crazy train. That's all I have to say. I know people who've had $5 in their pocket when they got a lead on a TV show that changed their life. It's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say is at the end of your life, whenever that is supposed to be, do you want to look back and say, shoulda, coulda, woulda? And when I had a 1-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 4-year-old, I decided I could not look back and say coulda, shoulda, woulda. Even with little kids, I needed to go back to what I did, and I'm very grateful that I did.
It's a beautiful, beautiful progression and wonderful choices that you've made, because you've been able to find, as crazy as it all is, a balance with it all, having the family and the home and marriage, and then being, out there and performing. And it is a balancing act, and you've been able to really manage it in ways that I think, you've got it sort of figured out. Not that every day is perfect. Not that every day is going to be exact. Sometimes you got to pivot, and one day's crazy, one day's smooth, one day, who knows what it is, but you've found some sort of way, and you're doing work that brings you great joy and brings others great joy and blessing as well. And I'm so happy too that our dear mutual friend Alison said, "Hey, Kristin's great. Let's."
I love her. I love her.
She is one of the best, isn't she?
She's truly like one of the most giving, amazing souls on and off stage that I've ever come across.
She actually, as wonderful as she is, recorded a spectacular message, which we haven't shown yet on the show.
What?
But there she is, and we're going to show it right now. It's really cool. She recorded, some of the guests have been recording messages about why they've enjoyed their time on the show. So here is Alison England, everybody. And yes, she is a platinum blonde now.
Love her.
And she'll tell you about that.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Jim. Hey, Loveties. This is Allie England. Up in the Berkshires, we are under snow and icicles, and it's absolutely magical. I just wanted to get on and wish you all a very, very happy 2021. May it be beautiful and intuitive and fearless and free and powerful and grounded and changing, meaning that you do something you've never done in the new year and you allow yourself to fearlessly step on that ice and go for it. We need so many uplifting platforms, and the Jim Master Show certainly does that and adds to that, promotes that, resonates that, vibrates that. So it was great to spend time with you, Jim, and your puppets, who I will call your babies. and all the loveities and the people that follow you around the world. Isn't that brilliant? And I look forward to seeing you again in 2021. Maybe we can do some cooking or book reading. I'm about to start Alice in Wonderland. So just reading it out and letting ourselves be children playing in the garden of God, right? And thank you again for having me. It's really wonderful to hook up with such positive, powerful, wonderful people. So bless you all. And thanks again, Jim. Mwah. Oh, yes. And this is Allie England. And I was a brunette when I was on the show, which is actually a color I was when I was 17, 18, 19. But I've been a platinum blonde longer than that when my daughter was born. So voila, you are seeing me as my platinum blonde self. And I love it. I think it's fabulous. All right, everybody. Thanks, Jim. Bye.
Wasn't that great?
I miss her so much. She left LA soon after our production of Sweeney, and she is missed because there's just not a lot of women like her.
Yeah, she's now in the beautiful Berkshires of Western Massachusetts. Merlin asks, is auditioning over and over hard on your ego at all?
The hardest.
Yeah.
I will give you a little secret. I despise auditioning so much.
Yeah.
So much.
Have you had to do self-tapes, home things?
Yeah.
That's
especially
the new thing.
since COVID. Like most auditions now are self-tapes. But self-tapes I like better because it's just me and the camera rather than me and a room full of people who have been seeing people all day and are like looking at their phones. That is a nice feeling. I just feel like auditions, especially for musical theater, you don't really get to show everything that you do. You get to show, 16 bars. Yeah. And sometimes in New York, some of them are 8 bars. Literally, It's just like a factory, get it in, get it out.
And that's it. Yeah.
And so it's a necessary evil, but I'm not a fan. I now treat every audition, somebody told me this a while back, and I will pass this on. Treat every audition as a performance opportunity. Today, I got to work on that song. Today, I got to meet a room full of people and act a fool on a stage, and I am now out of control of whatever happens beyond that.
That's right.
Because I'm on the other side of the table now so often, I'm directing now too. I know that so often, the minute I walk in a room, I'm not what they're looking for. Not for anything that I have or haven't done, but because they wanted a tall blonde and I am not that. Or they want, somebody that looks completely different and I'm not that. So often it has nothing to do with talent and it has or ability, and it has everything to do with type or the casting director really wants to cast their friend and you are messing that up. Right. So it's, I've worked enough to know, and I've worked on both sides of the table enough to know that you just do you.
Do you. Right.
You go in and do the best you can. Be prepared, be professional, have your book done and ready. Talk responsibly and kindly to the accompanist, please, and thank you. I cannot tell you how many actors will come in. They're great, but they're snapping at an accompanist or they've got an attitude. Yeah. I'm not hiring you. No. Like, you can sing a high Z and you treat the accompanist badly. Why would I want you in my show for 6 weeks in rehearsal,
Right.
So much of it is attitude, I feel, and being prepared. But being prepared does not happen on the stage. That it all needs to be done with your voice teacher, in your classes, on your own, all that stuff. Come to that audition knowing your music, marking your music, get on stage, be kind, be somebody they want to work with. That's the number one thing. Walk in, be warm, answer questions when they ask you. Don't put up a wall. If you put up a wall, how am I going to ask you to bear yourself on stage if you are so unkind in the speaking portion of the audition? You know,
Right.
I've seen so many people come in with this like weird chip on their shoulder. I think it's because they're uncomfortable,
Yeah.
but I'm like, oh no, baby, like be nice. So we
Wrong way to
want to
go. Right.
hire you, you
Right.
know?
Right.
And then if you get the job, remember that all directors talk to each other. We all
Yes.
know each other. So I will tell you, I've had people call me and say, should I hire this person who was an absolute nightmare to work with? They were a great actor, but they were terrible to work with. They didn't come to rehearsal on time. They, you know, whatever it was. And I've had to say no. I've had to say, I don't want to say anything bad about the person, but if I also don't want to lie to you and you have a terrible experience because I was untruthful.
Right.
You know? So be someone that people want to work with. Number one, always. That I think that's the best advice I ever got. And I didn't always follow it when I was younger.
Right.
I wasn't all I was a little diva when I was younger because people would make me mad about something and I thought I was justified in having a hissy fit. No. Shut up and do your job and be kind. That's my best advice.
That's great advice. So everything that we chat about tonight has been really spectacular in terms of just being hopeful and inspiring and positive, which is what we like to really celebrate here on the Jim Masters Show live. And I want to toast you, my friend. It was really, really awesome having you here.
Thank you. I wish I had one.
Reach in. Can't you reach in?
Share.
How long are your arms? And you know who else was having a wonderful time with us? We have a cast of characters here, and Gilligan is behind me, and we've got Jimmy and Silver, the Silver Lab. Gilligan came from Dream of Denver, Bob Denver's wife, who was a guest on our show. And she said, you're missing something from this set. I said, what could we possibly be missing? She said, I'm going to send you the Gilligan. But George Burns was watching, and he had a wonderful, wonderful evening with you.
God himself. When I was growing up, he was God in all the movies.
Right. Yes.
That's awesome.
Really cool. You're the best. And I'm so glad that we were able to spend this amount of time, almost 2 hours chatting. Could you believe that?
Thank you so much. I was like, gosh, am I interesting enough to do this? So
oh, sure.
I appreciate, and thank you to all your lovities that are fans and so kind to me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, that's
I didn't know I was going to be singing until I got here today. So I'm very thankful that you guys were so kind to let me sing a cappella and be nice about it.
Oh, and you were so kind to do it as well. And I want to just show you some of the wonderful comments. And I try to make it a warm, inviting conversation. I tell people it's a conversation. It's not an interview. And we can chat for almost 2 hours and it doesn't even feel like that. It's just flowing and relatable. Kathy Short in Cleveland says, very fun conversation tonight. Thank you. You're welcome, Kathy.
Thank you.
Bernadette says, thank you, Kristin, for the stories, song, and insights. Absolutely. Angela says, thank you. Juanita, still watching late into the next day or just about in South Africa. Was a great conversation. Thank you, Kristin, for sharing your stories and music with us. Keep well.
You
Mary
too.
Bishop,
Thank you.
so glad to have met you. Kristin, you're wonderful. And Wozniak, perfect advice for anyone. This has been a great evening. Thank you for sharing with us. It is our pleasure. We always love doing that on the show. And Slancha, the Irish toast from Bernadette. Angela is toasting as well.
So many toasts. I'm so underprepared without alcohol right now.
The night is young. It's early there, right? By 3 hours.
I had surgery last week, so I'm technically not supposed to drink yet because I'm still on antibiotics.
And thank you for that you actually sang, considering, having like an oral type thing. You are a pro.
Thank you. I've been in bed for 5 days. Thank you, Maureen. Thank you.
She was resting up just for our show, folks. And I tell you, that's a real trooper, my friend. Thank you for the lovely evening. Merlin in Canada. Thank you, Kristin. And please stay safe, stay well.
Thank you.
Pasqua, nice to see you, Pasqua. So interesting. And of course, yes, here's to a quick recovery.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I'm almost there.
Oh, fantastic. And I wish you nothing but the best. And you're welcome back anytime, my friend. Keep me posted. Let's stay connected. And
Absolutely, Jim.
if I want a television shoot out in LA, I'll certainly let you know. If you're back here on the East Coast, let me know. And we'll stay in touch. And you're welcome back anytime. And I hope the show met whatever expectations you had and you enjoyed the time with me.
It went beyond anything I could imagine. It was fantastic.
I appreciate that.
Thank you for doing all of this for not only for me. I mean, so lovely, but like, it's very clear that all these people all over the world are looking for connection right now, and you're providing such a vital service with your show. So thank you.
It is my pleasure. It is my pleasure. Mona in Louisiana. Thank you, Jim and Kristin, for your time. Got here late. We'll watch the rest later. Have a great night. Renee in Iowa says thanks, Kristin, as well.
Thank you.
You're the best. Go stretch those legs now. Tell our guests that. Have a wonderful rest of the evening with your fabulous family. And what are you going to make for dinner? Do you know yet?
I hear some pots and pans banging around out there. I think my husband might have gotten it started. So
this is a foodie crowd. They love food here.
Oh, I'm a foodie person. Instant pots, y'all.
Oh, yeah.
I'll come back on. Maybe Allie and I can come on and cook together or something.
She talked about that. See,
yeah,
we were talking about food. Absolutely, yes.
And I've gotten really good at making excellent vegan food because my middle daughter is a vegan. So
cool. Have you ever tried that? Have you ever tried the vegan thing?
I have. I was actually vegan for a while in my 20s. I happen to have, Bernadette's like, food. I happened to have gestational diabetes when I was pregnant. Yeah. And so I have insulin resistance, and that is really hard to have insulin resistance and be vegan because it's so many carbs.
Yes.
So I can't be full vegan, but I'm very plant-based, make a lot of I'm very into whole foods and whole cooking. So anytime you want to do a cooking show, I am so down.
Yeah.
Instant Pot for the win. And my Instant Pot has an air fryer. Look into that. That is awesome. I don't have a ton of room in my little house. So the Instant Pot with the air fryer is nice because it's just a different lid. It's not a whole other contraption.
Yeah.
So... yeah.
Cool stuff. Now we're all getting hungry.
I know. I'm very hungry. All right. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you again, Jim.
Thanks, Kristin. This was amazing. And again, we'll stay in touch and we'll have you back. And let's stay in touch, off air too. That'll be great. Okay.
Great. All right. Take care, everyone. Have a good night. Thank you, Jim. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Fantastic, Kristin. Isn't she amazing? And it was wonderful having her here, Kristin Towers-Rowles. And amazing lineage, too. If you joined us late, of course, she's a brilliant singer and actress and director herself. But if you did join us late, her lineage is extraordinary. As she mentioned, her grandmother is MGM legend Kathryn Grayson. Yes, the wonderful MGM film star, her grandmother. And she talked about her grandmother, and she does this wonderful show that's going to be a web series called A Lovely Lineage, talking about the extraordinary Broadway and Hollywood lineage that she comes from. Her grandmother, Kathryn Grayson, of course, and her mother, Patricia, another incredible performer and talent. There's actually her grandmother, Kathryn Grayson, with her mother, Patricia Towers, who, of course, a brilliant performer, singer, actress, Vegas, and so much more. She mentioned her father lovingly, too, who still is doing his thing. The wonderful film, television, stage star, Robert Towers, as well. Her incredible, legendary grandfather, Johnny Johnston, Broadway legend in Hollywood, and so much more, all part of her family. And of course, she's paying homage with A Lovely Lineage, which is going to be a web series as well. And she's fantastic. A lot of fun, isn't she? And great voice. We chatted just before the show about her doing, a quick song. And she was very gracious about doing that a cappella. Not everybody likes to do things a cappella. Some people like to do it, in a studio or with their musicians or be well rehearsed. So not every guest likes to just on the fly do a song or two, because I know sometimes our viewers like to ask, Some like to be more prepared, but she was great. She said, sure, I'll do what we can. And she wanted to share something really nice with us. And she certainly did that. So we thank her live from Los Angeles, California for joining us tonight. Really, really awesome guest and great friend, and wonderful message also from Alison England too. We just debuted that. We have so many of those messages that have come in, those videos from our guests who have been talking about their experiences on the Jim Masters Show Live, and from our viewers. I think we're going to dedicate one whole show to showing you so many of them, because there's so many of them that still have come in that we haven't even had a chance to share on the air yet. Tomorrow, Rebecca Harkin is here. We're going to do a very special show. Now, we're going to start a little bit later tomorrow, so make sure you mark your calendar and your clock. She is going to be here at 8 p.m. Eastern, not 7 p.m., 8 p.m., which will be 5 p.m. Pacific. The incredible Irish singer-songwriter Rebecca Harkin is here tomorrow night. That's Tuesday, live on the Jim Masters Show Live. She's going to be performing, and she's going to be live from Australia. So that's why we're doing the show a little bit later. We're going to start it at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. So don't look for us tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, and think, oh no, the show's not on. We'll be on tomorrow, but we're going to start the show at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. The reason why is because here it'll be Tuesday, but in Australia it'll be Wednesday. So it'll be about noon for her Wednesday, her time, but it'll be Tuesday here. Of course, Australia is ahead of us. So again, for anybody watching in Australia, Rebecca Harkin is going to be here tomorrow, which will be actually Wednesday at noon in Australia. But here in the United States, and what have you, it'll still be Tuesday. So again, it's Tuesday tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern is the time for the Jim Masters Show Live. This is exclusively on our YouTube channel. So make sure, anybody watching on Facebook, make sure you head over to our YouTube channel. We'd love it if you subscribe to the channel. That really, really helps the channel big time as we're growing it. And that also allows us to offer more content to you. So we would love it if you subscribe to the channel, share the channel with everybody, click the notification bell so you don't miss any of the great shows, content, and other features we put on the Jim Masters channel there, and check it out. We would love that. So Rebecca Harkin, who is the sister of Keith Harkin from Celtic Thunder, who has a brilliant career as well. He used to be with Celtic Thunder, one of the originals, has his own brilliant career. He's currently in Portugal right now. Rebecca is in Australia. So while she's in Australia, she's going to hop on the show tomorrow live as our special guest. A lot of people are very excited about this. And again, special time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, tomorrow, Tuesday, which will actually be Wednesday in Australia, noon p.m., noon, 12 p.m., noon, for our folks watching in Australia, New Zealand, that whole area. So, got it? It's all on our YouTube channel. If you forget, you can see it on the Facebook page at Jim Masters TV, The Time. Look at our events section on the Facebook page at Jim Masters TV for the time for Rebecca Harkin, and also the other shows that are coming up this week. So I also want to show you a few more other guests that are coming up, because on Wednesday, Anson Williams from Happy Days is going to be here live and exclusively. That's right. Anson Williams is going to be here. And then on Thursday, from One Life to Live and Days of Our Lives and the movie Friday the 13th and so much more, Kevin Spertas is going to be here live and exclusively. That's going to be amazing. On Friday, wonderful author and life coach Sterling Meyer is going to be here. She's going to offer some wonderful advice and all kinds of incredible conversation, inspiration with Sterling Meyer. She's going to be here on Friday. It's going to be a great show. Lots and lots of incredible entertainment coming up with Broadway star Nikenje. She's going to be here on Saturday, and that's 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. And if you were with us last night when our good friend Nikita Burstein was here, they're friends and we're all friends, and he was excited that she's going to be here on Saturday as well. It's going to be a great night on Saturday night. Yes. And then we have more rolling out. We'll announce some more folks coming up. Amazing, amazing folks. We have the renowned pianist Dino, who's going to be joining us on the show very soon as well. We have the brilliant actor and performer Josh Grassetti is coming on the show, and it's just incredible. So again, tomorrow night, don't miss it. Rebecca Harkin on our YouTube channel at Jim Masters TV exclusively. That's Jim Masters TV on YouTube. Make sure you, if you want to be able to comment, subscribe to the channel. And then stay subscribed. Don't unsubscribe. Stay subscribed, because that really helps the channel. We love that. And if you subscribe, then you make sure you log in. And when we say subscribe, there's no cost for it. Some people think you have to pay for it. No, there's no subscription cost for it, the YouTube. You just subscribe to it and create your little profile. And that way there you, and when you log in, you'll be able to comment during the show. For those of you who haven't done that before, you're welcome to do that. We always welcome that. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, tomorrow, Tuesday, which again, at that time will be noon in Australia, because she's, and it's a little bit late for folks watching in Ireland, but they'll be watching, I'm sure, in Ireland and Scotland and England as well. It'll be like around, I think, midnight, or it'll be late, but it'll be archived also on our YouTube channel for all to see. Christine says, thanks, Jim, for a great show with Kristin. Shared some fantastic stories and great advice as well. Thank you, Christine. Appreciate that. What a great lineup, Maureen. Thank you. Yeah, we're working hard behind the scenes, working hard. And great show, Jim. Kristin was lovely. Thank you, Juanita. Appreciate that. Good night, Jim and everyone. Really enjoyed this evening. We appreciate you being here as well. Ann Wozniak, you have a good night as well. And kisses from Willie. You have a good night as well. And Bernadette says, thanks, Jim. That was especially cool for us theater folk. Glad you enjoyed that as well. Pasqua, thank you, Jim. Thank you, Kristin. Thank you, Pasqua. It's so wonderful to see you here. Hope you're doing well and hope you're hanging in there. And Willie enjoyed the show in the Netherlands. We appreciate that. And she's thanking Kristin as well. And we'll have Kristin back. She was amazing. Some family lineage too, right? With her grandmother, renowned MGM film star, and so much more, Kathryn Grayson. But again, she has carved out her own brilliant career. And we hope to get together with the guests. There's a lot of dinners to be had and a lot of get-togethers to be had. I want to let you know, actor Sean Kanan is coming back on the Jim Masters Show live. You know him from General Hospital and I think Days of Our Lives and so much more. He's coming back in February on the Jim Masters Show live. He has some cool announcements, and he wanted to hop right back on the show. So actor Sean Kanan is coming back on the Jim Masters Show live. So many of the guests want to come back. Cool stuff. Good night, everyone. Thank you very much, Mary Bishop in Florida. And was awesome. One of the best. Thank you very much. And if you've missed any of the shows, we have over 240 episodes of our show, including the fun episode with Alison England, actress Alison England. You can see them all on our YouTube channel. Go back and scroll through our YouTube channel. There are over 240 plus episodes of the Jim Masters Show Live entertainment lifestyle talk show series for the watching and enjoying. And I know a lot of people binge watch. We see the views, and so many people binge watch later, and that is awesome. We really love that. And again, while you're there on the YouTube channel, we would love it if you haven't subscribed, subscribe, and tell everybody about the channel and about our show. That helps as well, because many of you ask, what can we do to help? We want to be a part. So you guys are definitely a part of the show, and feel free to tell everybody about it. So good stuff, and really great show. Good night from Juanita in South Africa. Good night, everyone. Keep safe and well. You too. And Kathy Short as well. Good night, Jim. Looking forward to tomorrow. Again, 8 p.m. is our time tomorrow. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. So that is 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 6 Mountain Time, 5 Pacific. And then again, it's a little bit late, I know, in Europe, but there will be people watching, and then you can watch it in the archives as well. Good night, Jim and all loveities. Hope all have a great night. Yes, a great lineup. Love that shirt you have on. Thank you very much. It's a really cool sweater. Brand new, and it's very soft. It's got a little bit of a turtleneck built in. You can see some of the design. You know, the whole shirt is sort of this way. The sweater, the whole design goes down like this. I don't know if you can see it. There you go. And it goes all the way down. Really cool. You're never supposed to step out of frame, especially in television, but this is online. So yeah, it's really cool. It's very soft, and you can see some of the design in there. Too bad you can't reach in and just touch it, right? Very soft, and it's got a little bit of a turtleneck. Really cool sweater. We're bringing out all the Gym Masters sweaters right now this time of year. Love it, love it, love it. Group loveity hug to everyone. All right, here we go. Group loveity hug. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. So, yes, no, it's late for you. So you just sleep in tomorrow, Willie, and we will be here. And you can always watch the show. I know you watch sometimes in the archives on the YouTube channel at Gym Masters TV. So you do that. We're doing it at this time because Rebecca wants to do it at noon her time on Wednesday, which will be Tuesday for us, Wednesday because she's in Australia. So we're doing it to accommodate her schedule. So she asked for that time. So we've moved the time of our show from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. to accommodate the fact that it'll be noon Wednesday in Australia, while it is 8 p.m. here, 5 p.m. Pacific. All right. You two, back at you. Mona, and good night from Christine. Good night, Jim and lovely friends. See you all tomorrow. Special time. It's going to be a great show. A lot of people excited about it. A lot of buzz. We love that. Buzz is good. Keep buzzing about the Gym Master Show live. We really, really, really sincerely appreciate that. Good night, everyone. Keep safe and well. Good night, gang. We shall see you. Don't forget as well, we always say to relax, take care of one another, love one another. We talked about some of that tonight with our very special guest, Kristin. So relax, love one another, take care of one another, breathe from the diaphragm, and don't let things get you down. And love yourself too. Be good to yourself as much as you are for everybody else, and relax. Don't forget to relax. Very important to relax and to breathe, you know, because we're going through some crazy times right about now, right? Crazy times. And as always, we usually say here on the Gym Master Show, a couple other quick things here. We say to smile and share the smile. Don't forget to share the loveity. Find your Zen place. Mine, of course, with loving family and friends, my most Zen place. Then, of course, I love the ocean. The ocean is a go-to place for me, and cycling and tennis and music and writing and all kinds of cool things like that. My work in television, radio, and stage, multimedia, all these years. On camera, on air, behind the scenes as well. Love it all. I've always loved it all, and all the shows and different things I've had an opportunity to do, and the wonderful opportunities which I sincerely appreciate in my professional world. And of course, loving spending all the time with all of you right here on the Gym Master Show live. You add to the entire equation, whether you are watching live and commenting through the show, or you just quietly watch live, which we appreciate because a lot of people do, or you watch later in the archives. It's always a blessing and a pleasure to have you here. So you guys have a good night, all right? You stay well, you be well. It's always a pleasure to have you here. We love having you here. And we'll be back tomorrow with a very special guest, Rebecca Harkin, on the Gym Masters Show live. Brilliant Irish singer and songwriter. Live tomorrow, she'll be in Australia. All right, gang, go stretch those legs, as we say to everybody, and we shall see you tomorrow. Have a good night. Thanks for being with us. Love you all. Take care. Be well. Bye-bye.